The Champions Trophy is back after 8 long years. One of cricket's most prestigious tournaments, apparently, makes its long awaited return. But why does this trophy even exist? Is it just another ICC event, or is it ICC's way of guaranteeing an India versus Pakistan showdown this year? More importantly, who are the favorites to lift the trophy? Who are the dark horses? How does India stack up to be a front runner to lift the trophy? Lots to unpack in today's play. You're watching the In Between Overs podcast. I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishaan.
Okay, let's start with the squad for India. India announced the squad a couple weeks ago, made some changes last minute due to injuries. We'll unpack all of that. But let's start by going through the 15.
Yeah, no, and I think a grade 15, you have a mixture of experience with some young talent. I know there's some glaring omissions as well. Well, I know that we'll speak on those little bit later on the pod, but like I guess we can start off with the batters. I think no surprises there. 50 overs, you have Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, and Shreyas Iyer. And I think if you look at all four batsmen, I don't think there should be any questions there. What were your thoughts on the batsmen, Farhan?
Yeah, I like who they chose for the batters. I think that's pretty obvious. What about omissions? Do you think there's someone that should have been on that list that's being omitted from the batting standpoint?
Oh, I think it's India's latest debutant in the format,
Yeah.
Yashasvi Jaiswal. We've talked about him during the England series, and I think he will be a front runner in the ODI format for years to come. But unfortunately, we just see how the combination was, and do you really then drop Rohit Sharma? Do you change the combination? Because Shreyas Iyer was just doing so well. So no, I think you have to include Shreyas Iyer with the way he's playing, and you got to keep the openings with the Sharma and Gill. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I agree. Yashasvi Jaiswal is probably the omission there, but like you rightly said, based on the form and the experience of the existing batters, I don't see a spot for him. So probably at the next tournament, you're going to see his name there, but not this one.
No, I agree. I agree. Now, also with some firepower, India has some great wicket keepers they've selected. So I don't think any big surprises there. You have KL Rahul, but then you also have Rishabh Pant, who I guess is the backup for KL Rahul. How do you see that dynamic, and do you think it's right to lead off with KL Rahul?
Yeah, I think it is again the right selection. It feels like India's carrying off from the ODI squad that played the 2023 World Cup and did so
Mhm.
well. They didn't win it, but they reached the finals. They dominated that tournament, as we all know, and we all know about the heartbreak that happened in the finals. Sorry to bring it up.
Travis said, Travis said, his name comes again.
Yeah, but I think that is why, and India hasn't played too many wonders in the last year or so, but KL Rahul has done enough to justify his spot so far. He hasn't scored big runs in wonders, but he's been fairly consistent with the runs across all the formats in the last year or so. So I think it's good to still see his name there, and he's really accomplished as a batter and as a keeper. He's definitely up there with some of the best keepers going around.
Yeah, no, he's pretty safe at the back there now. So I completely agree with you on that front. Now, what people may consider as India's biggest strength. Some may consider them India's all-rounders, and India has selected four all-rounders for this Champions Trophy, starting off with Hardik Pandya, followed by obviously the ever reliable Jadeja, Akshar Patel, and then a Washington Sundar. So you have one fast bowling option as well as three spinning options as well. What are your thoughts on that combination of all-rounders for Team India?
Yeah, and I think India are blessed with these many spinning all-rounders. Obviously, Hardik Pandya is the X factor there, being a
Hmm.
pace bowling all-rounder. And I think because of the way the pitchers are going to play, it makes sense to have three spin bowling all-rounders versus maybe another fast bowling all-rounder like Shivam Dubey or Nitish Kumar Reddy. I don't know if he's still injured or back from injury, but there would have been a case for them. Maybe if the tournament was played in more seam friendly or pace friendly
Hmm.
conditions. But since they're playing in UAE predominantly during the World Cup, which is a separate topic, not World Cup, sorry, during the tournament, which is a separate topic, I think it justifies the three spinning all rounder selection.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Just based on the subcontinent conditions. just kind of makes sense. And you have experience in Dubai, sorry, in the UAE as well. And I guess now we can go towards the bowlers. And India selected, a range of pace bowlers as well as spinners. So India has selected Kuldeep Yadav, Mohammad Shami, Arshdeep Singh, great left-hand option there. Varun
Hmm.
Chakravarti, we've seen how he played during the ODI series against England, followed by Harshit Rana. So
Do I think we're gonna miss Jasprit Bumrah? I think that's a question that everyone knows the answer to. The answer is hell, yeah. He is a big loss for the team and big boots to fill. It's everyone says this. The drop off from Bumrah and the rest of the bowlers is such a big drop off. It's not even funny. He was so relied on whenever India needs a breakthrough, whenever the
Mhm.
batters have strung together a partnership. You generally find any captain that's captaining Bumrah call upon Bumrah to break the partnership. And now you're going to have to rely on other bowlers to do that. And you may have to rely on the entire pack to do that because I don't think there's one bowler single handedly that could change the game like Bumrah can. That is a big loss for India.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think Bumrah across formats, as you said, in every spell, it's an expectation that he'll grab a wicket or two. And that is a real blessing to have, especially, the way he's bowling. And we saw him in Australia as well. So no, I completely agree that we will miss him. But we do have some strong options. I know you were talking about Arshdeep Singh earlier during the ODI podcast. What are your thoughts on the rest of the pack?
Yeah, I think it's a solid crop that was chosen for the tournament. I like the selections. Mohammad Shami, he is super experienced, but the one thing is his form because he's just coming
Hmm.
back from injury. We saw
Yeah.
him play the one day series against England as well as I think he played one or two T20Is as well. He looks okay. He doesn't look like he's at his best just yet, but I think he just needs to get more overs, get more mileage in the legs to get that rhythm going. And fingers crossed he finds that because India will need him as the leader of the pack because outside of him, the fast bowlers are a little on the inexperienced side with Arshdeep. Yeah, he's played a good number of T20Is for India, but from a one day perspective, he hasn't played a lot of matches. So, and then Harshit Rana literally made his debut in the last series. So
Hmm.
there's not a lot to rely on from an experience standpoint. And so India will need Mohammad Shami to be in form and to stay fit throughout the tournament.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Mohammad Shami, we know how well he was bowling during the Cricket World Cup in 2023,
Yeah.
bowling exceptionally well. And when he's on his game, he could be very, very lethal. One, you want him to get his form back, and second, his experience would be extremely, extremely important. I think as well as Mohammad Shami, a key player would be Arshdeep Singh. I think it's going to be a big tournament for him. I think he has a lot of shoes to fill. I think all the bowlers do, especially with Bumrah's absence. But I think it's going to be especially interesting to see how Arshdeep Singh plays in a 50 over tournament. And I think, yeah, one of the key factors for India, which I think should work well, is those spinners grabbing those wickets in the middle of the overs. I think India has a great pack of spinners and some great options, real wicket takers, real wicket takers, not just really trying to, keep the score down. So I think, yeah, India should expect their spinners to pull through as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The two spinners picked, again, great selections. Kuldeep Yadav was a lock again, going back to
Hmm.
the 50 over World Cup, played so well there. Well, he also dealt with injury, so he's also coming back from injury and looking for some form. He was okay during the one day series. He wasn't as impactful as we're used to seeing him.
Yep.
However, the other selection, Varun Chakravarti, he's hit some great form lately, and he's looking really good, really menacing because batters just don't seem to be picking his variations. Is
Hmm.
it the long sleeves? I don't know,
Seems like the mystery
but
spinners love the long sleeves.
yep. Shout out to Kuhneman, although he's not a mystery spinner.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that selection is good, and it's going to be interesting who India will pick in the 11 from the frontline spinner standpoint. And I know we're going to talk about the lineups, our predictions for the lineups in a second.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So the spinners will be super important, and I think that's a great transition. I think we all before any big tournament, before any big series, we do talk about our predicted 11. I think we had some great ODI games in the last series, so some great templates to look at. I think India plays a
Hmm.
great combinations as well. So I guess we can start with you, Tron. Let's just talk about our predicted 11.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with mine. So I have starting at the top Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill opening the batting. One
Mm-hmm.
down, Mr. King or the King himself, Virat Kohli. Number four, we have Shreyas Iyer. And then number five, so I'm obviously not going in batting order because I know India and Gautam Gambhir likes to do the
Oh
left-right
yeah,
combination.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna go with who's gonna play.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
KL Rahul, I have KL Rahul at five, Hardik Pandya at six, Akshar Patel at seven, Ravi Jadeja at eight. And then when we get into the bowlers, so here's where it gets interesting for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who they're going to pick between Varun and Kuldeep. I have a feeling that they're going to go with Varun just based on current form. But even if they go with Kuldeep, like they're good. They're good either way, I feel. It's hard. It's hard. I feel it may be a matchup situation where it
Mm,
may be
interesting.
dependent on, yeah, it may be dependent on how many left-handers or right-handers the other team has. So yeah, I think they could go either way. I feel like they're going to play multiple games, and it's the one that does the best that'll probably hold his spot for the knockout games if India gets there. And then for number 10, 11 for the fast bowlers, so I have Arshdeep as a lock, and I actually have Shami and Rana that may switch depending on Shami's form. And I know he is the most experienced, but I just feel that if he's not able to create pressure, India can't afford to carry him through a tournament where losing one game can end the tournament for you. Right? So I feel like you have to have your most informed bowlers. But having said that, are you willing to take the punt on Harshit Rana with such limited experience?
No,
So
that's a
again,
great point.
I'm not sure. I feel like they're going to start with Shami, but if Shami is not able to perform or put on pressure, they might swap him out with Rana.
No, I completely agree. And I'm not just saying that for the last point. I'm saying that for your entire 11. I had the exact same 11, and I think I echo all the points you made because some of the points of contention for myself was Varun versus Kuldeep. I currently have Varun selected as the number one option, but I think you raised a good point on one the combinations versus who they're playing. And I see what you mean. Versus, I think for Pakistan, for example, they might play Kuldeep because Kuldeep, for example, has played quite a few matches against Pakistan. He has
Yep.
experience getting, Bumrah Azam's wickets. Whereas, just say, they happen to face England later on in the tournament, you could bring in Varun Chakravarti because he had such a good, ODI series against them. So no, I think you raised a good point. I think that's how they should look at it. They should look at it as well. And then in terms of the Shami versus Rana debate, I had Shami as well locked in, and I think Gautam Gambhir is not shy of dropping someone based on form if Shami is not performing. I think even in the first match, if he still looks dull and slow, I don't think they'll hesitate to bring Rana in. So I think they're gonna prefer Shami initially, just to for his experience and if he's able to lock in, he'll be really good, right? So I think they're gonna prefer Shami, but if he doesn't perform, then we can expect Harsharana as well.
And the thing about Harshit Rana, and we saw that during the one day series, and I know it's a small sample size, but he has the ability to clock 150,
Yes.
145 at least consistently, right? And Shami and Arshdeep are not at that level of pace. They're slightly below. So Harshit Rana may be able to play that, I know these are big words, but play that Bumrah role of
Mm,
being an enforcer, coming in, trying to get that wicket with his raw pace, with his ability to extract bounce on these potentially low, slow surfaces in the UAE. Right?
hmm
So I feel like he provides that X factor that Shami and Arshdeep don't have, that India need right now with the loss of Bumrah not playing the tournament.
No, I see what you mean, and he does bring that extra bit of aggression or extra bit of
Yeah.
momentum that India may need because, we always talk about this. Cricket is a big game of momentum, and you need those players who are able to get a wicket, celebrate in such a way that the momentum shifts. You got Kohli yelling, you got Rana yelling as well now. So no, I completely agree.
And
It'll be a
don't forget his ability to pinch hit.
yes, no, we talked about that in the last pod as well.
Yeah.
Just making some room on the leg side and just slogging it.
Just use that big boy muscles.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So no, I think that's I think yeah, I think India. I love it. I'm glad we see eye to eye on this. But yeah, I think India has a lot of options to play with, which is a great thing. I think next, let's just look at the groups and I know and then see, what we think could potentially come out of those groups. So this tournament, classic, filled with two groups, Groups A and Group B. Group A filled with Bangladesh, India, New Zealand, and of course Pakistan with India, as
Really?
always.
Pakistan's in the same group as India? Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
I know. So that's Group A, and then Group B is Afghanistan, Australia, England, and South Africa. But hey, that group's also full of, I think, dangerous teams. What are your thoughts on Groups A and Group B, and who do you think will come out of them?
We make fun of India and Pakistan being in the same group, but don't forget that Australia and England also
Yes,
always
yes,
end up in the
yes.
same group too.
I
So
agree.
some Ashes rivalry always happening there as well. So I know the limelight is always on India and Pakistan being in the same group, but Australia and England consistently play in the same group in many tournaments of the recent past. So I just want to throw that out there too. But yeah, in terms of, I believe you're talking about who's potentially coming
Yes,
out, who we
yeah,
think is coming
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So in Group A with India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, New Zealand, I think India is a lock to come out. I'd be surprised and shocked. I feel like it'll be the biggest upset of the tournament if India do not come out of the group. And I feel they should come out as the clincher or the winner of the group. I can see them winning all three games. However, you can't discount the other teams. With between Bangladesh, New Zealand, and Pakistan, again, I think it's the pitches that they play on. I feel like Pakistan, because it's home conditions and with the crowd there, with the adrenaline, I feel like they'll put on some good performances, and we will probably see Pakistan coming out of the group. However, based on recent form, New Zealand has done really well in that
Hmm.
tri series against Pakistan. You can call it the warm up series before that just happened last week, and New Zealand won all their games, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't lose a single game, and I actually got to watch their bat
Yeah.
in the finals against Pakistan, and I was impressed by the way they play the middle overs. Very
Hmm.
impressed. I saw Daryl Mitchell, Kane Williamson, and Tom Latham just milk the Pakistani attack. And maybe it's lack of inexperience, maybe the Pakistan attack wasn't at their best, but they played their best attack. Nasim Shah, Shahin Shah Afridi,
That's
I
true.
think I think it was Abrar Hamid. This is the team that most likely they're going to play in the Champions Trophy. And the way New Zealand played was they look like they have adapted already really well to the conditions. And it
Hmm.
was really shocking to see how well they played. They used their feet well, whether it was stepping out to the spinners or staying back. They played the pacers well in terms of, when there was swing, they would try to see off the swing. I remember seeing the first 10, 15 overs, Nasim Shah and Shaheen Shah Afridi were swinging that ball like crazy
Hmm.
against who's the opener there? Conway and Kane Williamson. I think the other opener got out. It was Kane Williamson and Conway, and they played it out. They played it out like a test match. Played out the new ball, and then they were able to consolidate. And then from there, New Zealand were able to then take over in the middle overs and just milk the runs, and they ended up winning. So the way they approached it really stood out to me, and it gave me a sense that if there is someone that can come out of this group that's not an Asian team, it is going to be New Zealand, and they're the only non-Asian team in the group. But
Clip that, clip that, clip it, clip it.
hopefully the AI clips that. But to speak about Bangladesh really quickly, I don't see them doing much as they normally are. They normally don't do much in tournaments. They always promise like they're going to do something, but they
Hmm.
end up underperforming, and I don't see any different. I know they're coming with a younger squad in a way with their bowling attack. They got Nahid Rana,
Oh yeah.
Tanzit, no, sorry, Hassan. I think it's
And then
Hassan something. I can't remember his name.
okay.
But they got a couple of good fast bowlers coming in, and they still have the old experience of Mushfiqur Rahim and I was going to say Mushafi Murtaza. I meant to say Mamadullah. Mamadullah is playing as well,
Hmm.
so you could see some fight from them, but I don't see them even winning a game, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think let's just, I'll start off my Group A analysis with Bangladesh as well. I'm just gonna say, yeah, I don't expect too much from Bangladesh. Yeah, I think they're gonna, I guess unless of course Sri Lanka was in this group, then that would have been a cracker of a game. Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, and every ICC game is always a cracker, but I don't expect too much from them this tournament. I want to make a bold claim. I'm gonna say that the first match of this game, which is New Zealand versus Pakistan, is gonna decide who makes it through.
Okay. Okay.
It is. I think whoever wins
Yeah,
that game
I
is going
think
to
you're
make it
right.
out of the group. And I think
Yeah.
both teams have to look at it from that way. And if
Yeah.
I were to put my money on this, I know you obviously said that you believe Pakistan will, make it through. I think it's going to be New Zealand, and I think it's for all the points you mentioned. In addition, they're also missing some key players. Like for example, Rachin Ravindra, he was out for the last I think two
Yeah.
matches for them. You're gonna he's able to bowl, he's able to bat as well. I really think, if there's a team that has experience and, is in form, I think New Zealand, and I think they may even, put up a challenge against India as well. Still, I would still fancy India over them. I still think India, similar to you, is going to be toppers of this group, but I think it's going to be New Zealand as number two. And I think that the first game of the tournament is going to decide that.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout. It's like they're playing back-to-back finals. They just played one, they're playing
Yes,
another
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a cracker of a game for sure. So yeah, I can see that. I can see that being a decider for sure. For sure. Awesome. So with Group B, who do you think is going to come out of Group B?
Ooh, so Group B got some. I know we just talk. I know there's a lot to talk about in Group A. Group B has a lot to talk about as well. Afghanistan, Australia, England, and South Africa. And I think you got some great talent there. Afghanistan. We've always talked about them in these tournaments, and their progression is not static or down. It's always been linear going up. So I think they're going to be a challenge in this tournament, and I think they could win any single game. I think if their bowlers get on a roll, if their bowlers get a quick 2 or 3 wickets, they can really pounce on a team. Australia's I think coming in with Australia's coming in with a lot of players that have opted out. For example, no Mitchell Starr. I think that's going to be a big loss for them.
Marcus
Uh,
Stoinis retirement.
yeah, so I think it's going to be an interesting tournament for them, and I think if the stat is correct, they haven't won a Champions Trophy game in the last 6 matches. So it's
Really?
not yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. They've lost the last 6 Champions Trophy matches. So if history were to rhyme, at least this tournament's not the best for them. So I don't expect too much from them in my eyes. And then you have England and South Africa. I think England has a great squad.
Mm.
I think England we saw them versus India. I think India is just a little too good on home conditions, but they have some great players, and I think you just have to really understand the conditions and be able to get used to them. So I think England's going to be challenging, and you have South Africa, and South Africa they were very strong and a depleted lineup against Pakistan in the Tri Series and New Zealand. So I think they're going to be challenges as well. But if I were to pick two, I would say that it would be South Africa and Afghanistan going through.
Wow.
I'm going with South
Okay.
Africa and Afghanistan.
Wow.
It's a pretty
Wow.
bold claim, but that's what I'm saying. I think the ODI format just needs a little spicing up. I think Afghanistan would do that, and I just think South Africa will be able to pull it off as well.
Wow. Bold claim. So bold that I have the exact same claim. I literally was going to say South Africa and Afghanistan are going to come out of this group because of recent form. Now,
Yes,
again, you can never ever discount Australia. They just have the heart
we
of the
always say that.
champion.
We say
Yeah,
that,
they
yeah.
know how to play, they know how to win pressure games. But having said that, their recent form hasn't been the greatest. They went to Sri Lanka. Yes, they are dealing with injuries, and I think that's going to impact them. They do have some strong all-timers coming back, like Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark. But I still feel that they're a little undercooked in the one days. I think the retirement of Marcus Stoinis is going to just slide under the radar, but it's
Hmm.
such a big loss for them,
It is.
given the fact given the fact that they have injuries to their other all-rounders in Mitchell Marsh and Cameron Green as well.
Hungarian, yeah.
That's a big loss. So they got to rely on Aaron Hardy, who's coming in as their all-rounder, and he doesn't have much experience under his belt, let alone in these conditions. So I think it's a big shoes for them to fill as a unit to to fill the different gaps in their team. I think the one light that they have is Adam Zampa. He's definitely probably the best, along with Al Rashid, one of the top bowlers right now in one-day cricket from a spin standpoint.
In these conditions
And
as
so
well.
in these conditions as well. So yeah, you can't write them off, but recent form against Sri Lanka, losing those two one-days, and they lost it convincingly. It wasn't even close. The
Hmm.
games were not
Hmm.
even close. So that is going to be interesting how they adapt to the conditions in Pakistan. And so that is why I agree with you. I think it gives Afghanistan a real strong
Yeah.
chance of coming out of this group because they have a bowling lineup that is scary. At the top with Faruqi, left arm pace, swings the ball in and out really good. And then you have the all time Rashid Khan, and then they have their couple other spinners, Mujib and I think Gasanfar is playing as well. I don't know if he pulled
Hmm.
out because of injury, I'm not sure. But either way, they have a pretty strong spin bowling attack that can trouble all three of these teams who aren't the best against spinners, except for South Africa. Amongst
Yes.
Australia, England, and South Africa, you have to say that South Africa is probably the better players of spin. Tristan Stubbs, Heinrich Klaassen, Aiden Markram, they've all proven that they can play spin well in the West Indies, in India during the IPL.
Yeah, especially, yep.
And this squad has done well as a unit for many tournaments now. Yes, they haven't won anything, but they've gone pretty far in the last couple of tournaments, and so I feel like they're going to do something in this tournament, and they'll probably have a lot of drive to avenge what happened in that T20 World Cup because a lot of these
Yeah.
players playing have that memory
Yeah.
and they'll want to do something in this tournament, and I feel like I have to side with you that South Africa and Afghanistan are going to come out of this group. England just feel undercooked. I
I
don't
know.
think they're made for these conditions. They only have Adil Rashid as their spinner, and that's the problem. They need
Fair.
another frontline spinner. I think that was their problem when they played India in that series, where they relied on part-time spin and Liam Livingston and Joe Root and Jacob Bethel. But they're not frontline spinners, and I think that's going to hamper them. I feel the out-and-out pace can help in certain situations, but if the Pakistani pitches are like they have been in the recent past, I don't know if they're going to have that much of an effect.
Yeah, and I think, just sticking on that England piece really quickly, it's 50 overs. It's not 20 overs, and you need
Yeah,
bowlers to bowl the 50 overs. And that's what I think you just really got to hone into this tournament. Everyone's really used to T20, playing styles, but 50 overs, that means you got to have bowlers to bowl 50 overs. And no, I think to your point, you just need that extra spinner, especially in these conditions. But no, it's surprisingly, I'm glad that we see eye to eye on this too. That's really great. No, but I think it'll be an interesting tournament if our predictions come through. I guess going back to India now, is there any one player that you're really looking out for Team India? One player that you would want the fans to watch out for?
yeah, and I think I said this in the last series against England. Hardik Pandya. This is his tournament, and I feel we're going to see the best out of him. We saw glimpses of that in the series against England, both in the T20Is and the one days. I think he's going to have a lot to play with the ball. He's going to have a lot to play with the bat. Whether he's coming to play the middle overs, whether he's coming right at the end to power India to a score or take them to the target that they're chasing. I feel that he is the player to watch out for. He is going to be the X factor that India need with Bumrah not there.
Yeah, no, I have no issues on that. Hardik Pandya, he's a real blessing to have. Such a player, he was able to provide both with the ball and with the bat. And yeah, completely agree with your assessment on that. My player to watch out for is Arshdeep Singh, and the reason I say that
Okay.
is because one, I think it's really exciting to see him in a full 50 over tournament. We love seeing him in the T20 styles, but I think I would love to see him in the 50 over tournament. And if we look at the last T20 World Cup, I think he played exceptionally well. And the reason why maybe he didn't get as celebrated as others is because he was under the wing of Bumrah. Bumrah played exceptionally well that tournament, match winner every game. Last game, first game, Bumrah was a man. Without Bumrah now, I think this really allows Arshdeep the opportunity to be, that frontline bowler. I know we talk about Shami with his experience and Rana bowling 150, but we sometimes fail to realize Arshdeep Singh is a reliable bowler with the new ball. If he gets 2, 3 wickets early on, that can really set the game up for India. And I think I'm really banking on him to really bowl those important overs for India. So my player to watch out for is Arshdeep Singh.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I like that selection. I think he's going to be a handful for sure. Okay, so winners and finals prediction. Who do you got for a final? And who do you think is going to win that final?
How does it remind me it works is so we the winner of Group A plays second place of Group B.
Usually that's how it is. I
I think
would
that's how
bet
it
that
is.
that's how it's going to be. Yeah, I would assume that.
Okay. Then I'm gonna say it's gonna be an India versus New Zealand final,
Ooh, okay. Wow. All right. All right. So,
and India's gonna win that. And I'm saying India's gonna win that.
okay, India's going to win that. Okay, so I'm going to go with something really interesting. I'm going to go with India versus South Africa final, and South Africa is going to win.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's going to be a rematch. I know it's not the same format, but I think it's going to be a rematch, and I think we're going to have. So I have India and South Africa topping the groups, and then South Africa winning their semifinal, and India winning their semifinal, and then India South Africa coming out for the final. So that's what I'm
That'll be
predicting.
interesting.
I know we're Indian fans here, and you probably everyone listening probably wanted me to say India, but I have a feeling that they gotta win one.
One
They gotta
day.
win one at some point. I know it's Asian conditions and maybe the odds are stacked against them. No one's really talking about South Africa with the way they played recently in that recent series. But hey, that's usually when the underdogs step up, and I feel
Yeah.
like South Africa, they might just do something.
There has to be a time, right?
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a great place to wrap it up. As you can tell, we're both excited for the Champions Trophy. It's starting on the 19th, which is literally in 3 days, at least from the time of this recording. And we can't wait. We're going to bring you the India matches for sure, and it's going to be a fun one. Until then, that's Stumps. Don't forget to like and subscribe.